I'm also confident that our commitment to a data-driven public health policy has saved lives. For that reason, we will be taking another step forward in Marion County, implementing many of the aspects of Stage 3.
Reopening the door a little wider in Marion County, what Mayor Hogsett says will and won't be allowed in the coming days in Indianapolis.
Schools across central Indiana are getting one of these thanks to a local sewing group. I'm Steffi.
And history will have to wait a few more days. Why the first manned space launch from U.S. soil in nearly a decade was scrubbed less than an hour ago.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Now at 5, Indianapolis is ready to take the next step forward in reopening the city. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino at the WRTV studio.
And I'm Mark Mullins, social distancing from my home tonight. Today, the mayor outlined the next steps the city is ready to take. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to explain how salons, churches, and restaurants are all impacted.
Personal service industries may resume by appointment only with PPE worn by all staff and all patrons. Now, this includes salons, spas, and tattoo parlors.
It's just the green light Sylvia Captive has been waiting for.
I was so glad today when I was listening to the mayor saying that he will allow us to open on June 1st.
RTV6 first introduced you to Captive in April when the salon owner reached out to us ready to rebound from the pandemic. At the time, she was having a hard time getting approved for a small business loan. We helped her find the right fit. She got help, and now
we have a lot of clients that said we're so glad that you're able to reopen. They're just glad that we are going to be able to go back in business, and we were able to survive through this.
Back and booked, but things look different here now.
We received from the state of Indiana big gallons of hand sanitizers and masks, so we are prepared with this.
Clients can sit in that chair or this chair over here, but the chair in the middle will remain empty to keep social distancing in place.
Clients and stylists must now wear masks. Stylists will wear masks their entire shift, and constant sanitizing will take place throughout the day. And this isn't the only space getting the green light to gather again. The doors of the church are opening again with new rules. Only 50% capacity allowed inside the sanctuary. Masks will be mandatory. But if churches choose to do service outside, there's no capacity limit. However, masks are still recommended. And finally, restaurants can now open at 50%, splitting between indoor and outdoor seating. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
I want to give you a couple of the other highlights from the mayor's announcement today. On Monday, gyms and fitness centers may reopen at 50% capacity, but no contact sports will be allowed. Pools can also open at 50% capacity. Campgrounds may also reopen, but any on-site playgrounds must remain closed. And remaining closed at this time are bars, movie theaters, bowling alleys, arcades, museums, and live performance venues.
The pattern of pop-up and scattered downpours continues today, and so does the warmth and humidity. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is monitoring the day's developments from his home studio. What's in store for tonight, Kevin?
Amanda, we've got this pattern down, don't we? Afternoon heating, pop-up downpours, some lightning, but the thunderstorms haven't been overwhelming. Temperatures feel warmer than they actually are because of that humidity. 76 right now in Indy. The clouds in general kept the temperature down some today. We hit 82 officially in Indianapolis. Temperatures 85 in Lafayette. First glance at radar, not a whole lot there. We'll go looking, though, a little closer. Williamsport and Attica, Warren and Fountain County kind of straddling the Wabash River, some rain there. Then between Monticello and Logansport, and then in the southern portion of the state, hit and miss areas of showers or light rain for now. The trend this evening for most of this activity to calm down and see less coverage. Temperatures, they'll be in the 70s through 10 o'clock tonight. Finally, a break in this daily pattern and a much different weekend is planned. I've got those details shortly.
And Call 6 Investigates has been tracking problems with stimulus checks and federal refunds. Many of you are telling us you still have not received your money. And on top of it, you can't talk to a live person. The Internal Revenue Service is adding more than 3,000 telephone representatives to answer your questions about stimulus checks. The IRS emphasizes their services will remain limited, and they still want people to go to their website, irs.gov. More than 3 million Hoosiers have already received stimulus checks totaling $5 billion. The number is 1-800-919-9835. That's 1-800-919-9835. You can also go to irs.gov.
There's a new effort to assist survivors of domestic violence as calls for help skyrocket during this pandemic. Shelters are not able to take in as many people as they were before due to COVID-19 restrictions. So RTV6's Megan Sanctorum explains how local organizations are working together to find alternative solutions and why they're asking the community to step up to help as well.
It's a startling statistic from the Domestic Violence Network. Leaders there say there's been a 125% increase in calls for help since the pandemic started.
It could be a matter of life or death.
Kelly McBride is the executive director of the Domestic Violence Network in Indianapolis. They work with other organizations to help place survivors in safe temporary housing. Right now, most shelters are full, so instead, survivors are being placed in hotels. But that stay comes with a cost. The Braveheart Foundation and Central Indiana Community Foundation have donated $35,000 to fund hotel stays, but the money is going fast. So now they're asking for community support.
That's great that these foundations have come through and they've seen the need and they provided us the funding. We are almost halfway through it and we've only been doing this for 2 weeks. So it's so important if we can have the community step up, even $10, $20, it all adds up and it helps. And it helps a family be safe and to be able to start their lives over again.
So far, the Domestic Violence Network has placed 8 adults, several children, and a puppy in safe housing with this money. They hope to provide the same help and resources to anyone else who needs it. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
The Domestic Violence Network says 100% of donations will go to helping survivors. We will have more information on how to donate on our website. That's at theindychannel.com.
Advocates and experts have warned about increases in substance abuse as Hoosiers cope with the coronavirus pandemic, and social distancing has limited access to some in-person addiction resources. Now officials say the use of naloxone, a fast-acting antidote to undue overdoses, is way up. Dr. Jennifer Sullivan of the Indiana Family and Social Services said more naloxone was used in April of 2020 in Indiana than in any previous month in state history. It was used 1,306 times in April. Sullivan said about 1.5% of all EMS runs now involve naloxone. At this time last year, it was at 1%.
We know that naloxone is often the only tool that provides individuals with opiate use disorder another chance at recovery. We have not forgotten about these Hoosiers and the epidemic of substance use disorder that is one of our pillars.
Sullivan said the state is providing another $1 million to fund naloxone kits to go directly to the public. The data shows that naloxone was trending upward before the pandemic began.
After a couple of days showing a decline in COVID-19 deaths in Indiana, the curve is climbing again. Just take a look here. Following a 6-day low of 8 on Monday, we've seen increases yesterday and again today. 21 new deaths. So far, 1,871 Hoosiers have died from coronavirus. The curve is flattening a bit when it comes to new cases, however. 370 reported today. Overall, more than 32,400 Hoosiers have tested positive.
Connecting people together in such an isolated time, strangers from across Indiana are sewing thousands of face masks to give to dozens of school districts. RTV6's Stephanie Wade shows us how this small act of kindness will have an enormous impact come fall.
As schools figure out what learning will look like come fall, whether they'll be in the classroom or still at home, one school district tells me these will play a big part in keeping students and staff safe.
So this is enough fabric to make 20 masks. There's elastic in there as well.
People from across central Indiana are sewing thousands, and I mean thousands, of face masks.
We started a Facebook group, added a few people, Added a few more, added a few thousand more.
The group Sew and Serve, now up to nearly 6,000 members, originally set out to sew face masks for healthcare workers. But once the hospitals they were donating to received their long-awaited shipments of PPE, the group shifted their focus elsewhere.
As we go out and about, we see the face coverings. We know they're recommended, but yet they're very difficult to come by. And so when Ann Steele from Sew and Serve reached out via email just asking, it was almost like, this is too good to be true. Is this some kind of scam?
Now the group is donating their home-sewn face masks to schools. So far, working with 26 school districts, including Avon, Zionsville, Noblesville, and Hamilton Southeastern.
1,000 here, 500 there, depending on the size of each school corporation.
HSE tells me they still have staff working in the schools every day, deep cleaning. Plus, teachers had to return to take down their classrooms after abruptly closing.
And I had been seeing my kids' own teachers posting on Facebook those bags of supplies. It's heartbreaking, really. They didn't want to go in and do that.
If they do return in the fall, HSE is considering face masks for staff and students, but have not made any decisions yet.
Health-wise, having the mask in place, trying to maintain our social distancing, and probably a screening procedure of some type will probably be involved.
What started as a small gesture has culminated to 115,000 masks donated and counting, all by complete strangers.
They don't even know each other, and they have a common aspiration just to serve.
There are no words for how amazing this experience has been.
Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Steph, thank you. And Sew and Serve is taking numbers from school districts to see if they have the capacity to provide every student with a mask come fall. To get involved, we will attach a link to their website at theindychannel.com.
Now still ahead on RTV6, there was so much hope for a launch today, but plans changed in the final half hour before liftoff when NASA will give it another try.
Missing Disney World when the happiest place on Earth hopes to reopen.
Cooler temperatures just one of the reasons this weekend will be so fantastic. I'll share a couple of more with you when we come back.
Now to Democracy 2020 and an important message from the Marion County Clerk regarding your mail-in ballots. Mila Eldridge says if you haven't mailed in your completed ballot yet, or if it arrives this week, you should seriously consider hand delivering it to make sure it gets counted. The clerk's office must have your ballot by noon Tuesday in order to count. We're told there was a record number of absentee ballot applications in Marion County, and COVID-19 restrictions have also limited the number of people in the clerk's office who can process those applications. Completed mail-in ballots can be delivered to one of 3 early voting centers now, or to one of the county's 22 vote centers by noon on Tuesday. Well, it is not the day that NASA or space enthusiasts had hoped for. The SpaceX rocket is still sitting on the launch pad in Florida at this hour. That launch was scrubbed about an hour ago due to weather.
And we will now have to wait a few more days for the first manned rocket launch from U.S. soil in nearly 10 years. ABC's Zorin Shah reports.
A historic moment postponed. For the first time in 9 years, NASA astronauts were hoping to take off from American soil, a big moment for the U.S. space program.
It's a real honor to just be a part of this program and to launch American rockets from Florida.
But bad weather in the takeoff area postponed the launch. Astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, seen here in the Crew Dragon spacecraft, were ready to be propelled by SpaceX's Falcon 9 in Cape Canaveral, Florida. This launch not without risks. SpaceX has had several incidents with the Falcon 9 rocket. Here, it failed launching cargo and exploded on the launch pad during a test. For days, excitement had been building.
I already feel the butterflies. I can feel it happening right now, right? And that's a good thing.
Hours before takeoff, both NASA and SpaceX feeling confident about takeoff.
I asked them, if there's anything you want me to do, if you want me to stop this, I'm happy to do it. And they said, no, we're both go for launch. We're ready to go.
But the risk proving to be too high during those final moments. This launch has now been moved to Saturday. That's when forecasters believe that weather won't be such a wild card. Zorin Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
So they're hoping for better weather on Saturday, Kevin.
Well, the problem in Florida, thunderstorms, right? It's the lightning capital of the United States. This is the Space Coast here. As you look from Daytona Beach down to Titusville and Melbourne and Cape Canaveral, the thunderstorms just rolling off the coast, but anywhere lightning around creates the problem. Thus, the mission is scrubbed. Let's slide on up into the area from Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas and Missouri. In that Four Corners area, you've got low pressure that's spinning that will move towards Chicago. What it will do is, I think, increase the coverage of our thunderstorms in the next 24 hours. So far, they've been very spotty and in most cases not even producing lightning today. We've had some heavier downpours. One of those is near Williamsport now, another northeast then of Monticello, northwest of Logansport. They'll be very hit and miss through the evening hours. If you're trying to mow the lawn, hopefully you can get that done. Temperature in Lafayette warmer than surrounding areas. It's 80 in Crawfordsville, 76 in Indy. Remember, we hit 82 today, so 3 days in a row. We had 88 2 days ago, 86 yesterday, and 82 today, if you're keeping track. And then we're going to start a string of days in the 70s. Say hello to Sunny and Gidget. Ruth, Eva Gleben sent in this picture. I paused for a second. I had to call Ruth today or have her call me so he could help me with the pronunciation there. Hopefully I did it justice. But good to see both Sunny and Gidget on this warm, humid evening. If you're going out for a walk, temperatures will be right about 70 degrees by the time we get to 11. So it doesn't change a whole lot. Notice the probability of rain tomorrow higher to begin with. We'll start the day with showers and some downpours just like we did this morning. And I think the probability for rain will stay high through the day tomorrow. Thursday, temperatures stay in the mid-70s in most locations. Underneath the rain shield, we may have a couple of spots that can reach 80. There at 8 a.m., the widespread showers and thunder showers, pockets of heavy rainfall. They're still hit and miss through the afternoon hours. As we move beyond into Friday, things will start to change, but temperatures tomorrow with the humidity just above average. That wind is the key to the change on Friday. Notice the northwest wind. That will drive in the cooler, less humid air. A cold front will generate some rain, mainly in the first half of Friday. Then we'll begin to see some improvement from there. 7-day forecast temperatures stunningly cooler, less humid with lots of sunshine. There are 3 big reasons why you like the weekend as cool as 50 degrees on Monday morning. But enjoy the big pattern change for the weekend.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Kevin. And many summer plans are on hold, drastically changed due to the pandemic. But Disney World hopes to be able to welcome the return of guests in July. An Orlando task force approved the reopening plans today. They now go to the Florida governor for his approval. Disney plans to reopen in stages. The Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom are targeted to reopen July 11th, followed by Epcot and Hollywood Studios on July 15th. Allergies or something else? In the age of coronavirus, we're all on alert. A doctor helps us sort out the differences.
Visit the Hiring Hoosiers job board.
If you suffer from allergies, you know that May and June are typically the worst in Indiana. And with COVID-19 heightening awareness of changes in your health, RTV6's Alyssa Donovan turned to a doctor to differentiate the symptoms between coronavirus and allergies.
Spring is in full bloom right now, and for many of us, that means allergies. And since COVID-19 is at the top of everyone's minds right now, you might be wondering, are my symptoms allergies or are they coronavirus?
About 15 to 30% of our population is allergic in one form or another. It's very common.
Pulmonologist Mason Goodman says the most noticeable symptom of allergies includes sneezing, watery, itchy eyes, scratchy throat, and sinus congestion. People with allergies can also experience a dry cough. However, fever, which is common with COVID-19 symptoms, is not associated with seasonal allergies.
But one of the things besides fever that is a common process in people who exhibit symptoms from coronavirus is cough, and that is usually dry and non-productive. Usually it doesn't have sputum associated with that. A sore throat, significantly more intense than what is seen in allergies, is also usually present. Shortness of breath, especially with activity, is a big issue as well. And multiple body aches and pain and fatigue is also present as well.
Gastrointestinal issues have also been reported as a COVID-19 symptom, something you won't experience from your typical allergies. And as far as allergy sufferers being more susceptible or having a more severe case of COVID-19,
probably somebody that has what is just called seasonal pollinosis, meaning that they have problems that occur only in particular seasons, spring, fall, or whatever. Probably that is not a terribly large risk factor for more severe problems with coronavirus.
About half the people with allergies have an asthma-associated response. Dr. Goodman says people that do have asthmatic issues may be more susceptible to severe symptoms with coronavirus. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Thanks, Alyssa. Kids have been home for weeks staring at screens while navigating the e-learning process, and boredom is setting in. Tonight at 6, the new app that is keeping kids occupied while teaching them some responsibility at the same time. We'll see you at 6.